What is social awareness? Let's discuss that. Hello everyone, this is Chichi Dagogo Wariso, aka the Storybook Lady, as I like to call myself, aka Blossom's Corner, and we are back online. Remember, we said we are back with a bang, and we're here today to give you a tip of the iceberg of what to expect from us. Today we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic. It says raising socially aware children. What is social awareness? Let's discuss that. How can we teach our kids or our children to take the perspective of various people they interact with? How can we teach them to show compassion and concern for their feelings and the feelings of other people? Now, that's a very serious question that we need to discuss. We need to actually take into cognizance or into consideration. Now, at school, our children come in contact with different people, their peers, their teachers, outside of school, in social circles, at the park, in church, right? In different places, at the library, at the grocery store, the children come in contact with different people. And how do they interact with this kind of people? Now, social awareness or socialization is actually a very important skill for kids to develop in order to build positive relationships and also to make reasonable decisions. Because sometimes the children can be put on the spot where they need to take a decision whether to like this person or not, whether to accept this person's views or not. So the ability to teach our children how to be sociable helps them to make those decisions and build positive relationships. So now, how do social relationships occur? How does socialization start? It actually takes the conscious effort of we as the parents to help them and also other members of the community to foster an environment of love, empathy, gratitude, and also empowerment. Because a child that loves, a child who has empathy, a child who is grateful, and a child who is empowered will understand how to relate these feelings with other people. How do they recognize others' emotions? How do they recognize the emotions of others? Now, before they understand other people's emotions, I think it would be best for us to say that they need to understand their own emotions. They need to recognize their own emotions. And this is called self-awareness. It's an essential tool for taking the perspective and the feelings of people around us. So the child has to understand has to learn how to be self-aware of him or her own self before he begins to transfer that knowledge on other people. So how he wants to be related to is also how he would relate with another person. Now, these emotions include reading facial expressions, body language, and understanding voice intonations. So if when he growls or if he's angry, he has an angry face. Everybody has an angry face. Everybody has a happy face. Everybody have different ways they express emotions with their body language and also their voices. So when a child is happy, you cannot see a happy child frowning. Right? A happy child is smiling. So if he has to understand, or he or she, let me not say the child has to understand facial expressions, has to understand body language, has to understand voice intonations of themselves, of their family members, of those around them, so that they can also interpret it in other people's languages or other people's emotions. So they can actually tell, okay, when mommy's face is like this, then that means she's not happy. And that way they know that, okay, when they see somebody's face in that manner, they can understand that that person might not just be happy or might not be in the mood to interact with them in the way they want to interact with that person at that point in time. Now, what are the positive outcomes of social awareness? Remember, we said for a child to be socially aware, he has to also, first of all, be aware of himself. Now, these actually come with different kinds of outcomes. There are the positive outcomes, which we're going to focus on more than the negative. I don't think there are any negative outcomes of social awareness. There might be, but there would be such negative outcomes, but we're going to focus here on the positive outcome. So what's the positive outcome of social awareness? This is actually a skill that will help them to build relationships at home, in school, and within the community, right? And it will also help strengthen other skills, other social, emotional learning skills, such as empathy. Now, how do they understand empathy? Empathy strengthens their ability to relate to somebody, to understand how somebody is feeling. Appreciation for cultural differences and diversity. Now, right now, we live in a very, very culturally diverse world, both in the West, back home in Africa. We're not all the same. Culturally, we're not all the same. Ethnically, we're not all the same. Religiously, we're not all the same. Belief-wise, we're not all the same. So a child has to be able to balance all that, those differences in these different characteristics of people, appreciate and understand them, right? So if your child comes in contact with a Muslim, he should know how to relate with a Muslim. If he comes in contact with a Buddhist, he should know how to relate with a Buddhist, right? Then also there's teamwork. So for teamwork now, a child who understands empathy, who understands appreciation, can actually work as a team with adults, because now he or she understands his own body language. He understands his own emotions, and can actually relate and interpret his emotions to the emotions of the adult. That way they can work in synergy as a team without stepping boundaries or overstepping their boundaries, or feeling awkward in that relationship, right? Now, how do we practice social awareness? Now, this is where the work comes for we parents. How do we practice social awareness? How do we teach our children social awareness? By listening. Modeling and practicing good listening skills is a good first step when building social awareness. As parents, we need to learn how to listen to our children. If we listen to them, they will also learn to listen to people when they speak. Recognizing social cues, these are body voice notations, body language, verbal and non-verbal cues. Now, there's a book, I'm going to put the link in the description. It's called Wisdom, the Word of Emotion. It actually comes in, it can actually be downloaded on Androids, on the desktop, and also on iOS media. And it features a catalog of activities that focus on these skills of recognizing social cues. So it actually teaches these children how to learn more about observation and communication with real life examples. So if you can download this app, app, and try to run it by your children, let them understand how people can actually pass messages or speak or express themselves without speaking, or without actually saying exactly what they mean. Secondly, we have reading books. Remember, I said I'm the storybook lady. I will encourage reading to the end, to the latters. I will continue to encourage us to read. Books are a great way to help our children build social awareness through visual representation and storytelling, right? Especially books that have real life examples. The children can actually connect and relate to the characters. Now, I'm also going to put another link for a list of 22 books that can help spark meaningful conversations for children to learn more about themselves, about others, and the world around them. I did a video earlier about the life stories that we actually learn from Disney princes and princesses. And I bet so many people will not realize that all these stories actually have lessons behind them. All these characters actually have lessons that we should learn. We can actually learn from them. So it's not about giving these kids movies to watch, but the most important thing is what do they learn? What do they pick up from interacting with these movies or whatever? Then we have expressing gratitude. Now, when we are expressing gratitude, we are recognizing and acknowledging kindness that is shown to us. And you want to return that kindness. So you have to practice it daily. Do it with your children. Let your children learn to say the magic words, thank you. That word, the thank you is one word that is so very powerful that it actually turns things around. If you understand, just saying thank you, coming back to say thank you for a good deed that was done. So if these children learn how to express gratitude, learn how to show kindness, learn how to give back, it will actually help them to become socially aware. That way they will understand that there are people out there who actually need those things that they feel they don't need anymore. Help them to find their true purpose. Their purpose is that thing that uniquely qualifies your child, that unique quality that your child has. And trust me, I've also said in one of my videos that every child is a plain piece of paper. So whatever you put in that child is what that child will become. But everybody, each and every one of us, have a God-given gift or talent. And the ability to discover that talent is actually what sets you apart. The earlier you discover that talent and grow that talent is what sets you apart from the others. So pay attention to those things that spark interest and those qualities that make your child stand out. Maybe your child might love to dance. Like my daughter, my first daughter loves to dance. So in her spare time, she puts on her sneakers, she takes a headphone with her tab, and she's dancing, and it makes her happy. That's her happy place. So that's one thing I know that my daughter likes to do. For my son, I know he likes to play football. So once in a while, at his spare time also, you see him kicking the ball back and forth, back and forth. So every child has a God-given talent, a talent that they don't have to force or stress about going about it. It's something that comes naturally to them, something that makes them happy. Expose your child to charitable acts. It also relates to expressing gratitude. Help your child find empathetic ways to make a direct contribution, especially by volunteering. It helps them to see themselves as competent and empowered. The more your child gives, the more he or she would care. And as the saying goes, your heart is where your treasure is. So if you can, as much as possible, let your child see you give out. Let your child learn to give out. Let them appreciate the joy and the beauty involved in giving back and not always expecting anything in return. Dole out responsibilities. Everybody wants to feel purposeful. Everybody wants to feel like they have a purpose, right? And for them to feel like they truly belong, for your child to feel like he or she truly belongs, it's important that they contribute to the family. So give them responsibilities. Teach your child to stand up for a true cause, for a just cause. Show him or her how to fight for his rights, fight for her rights, fight for the rights of others. If you see them being bullied or put in a position where they're being bullied, teach your child to stand up and fight for him or herself. If there's a battle, your child can fight for him or herself. Coach him or her, coach the child on how to argue respectfully for their rights and for the rights of others. And also don't praise them too much. According to Dr. Paul Young Earsdrath, right, the author of The Self-Esteem Trap, she says that when kids expect praise for small accomplishments, it actually gets in the way of their thinking about other people's needs. So don't always overpraise them. It's not every time that they do something good, you say, oh, sometimes deliberately forget to praise them so that they will believe and know that, okay, maybe I need to do better. I don't know if that sits well with some people, but what I'm trying to say in essence is don't overpraise the children so that it doesn't get in their heads and so that they don't expect it all the time. Okay? educate them on the go. Take advantage of every opportunity to explain to them why people are different, what their challenges may be. If your child sees someone on the wheelchair and asks you, explain to the person how and why this person is in that position. If your child sees somebody in a difficult situation, or maybe somebody a physically disadvantaged person, take time to explain to them so that they understand what other people are going through. Okay? Start a gratitude journal. Same thing as being grateful, expressing gratitude. So they can actually start a gratitude journal. And the beauty of a journal is that it's written down, and when it's written, it draws it in. It actually sinks in the idea, right? It's a force that teaches the child to actually think about what they want to write, right? So in my opinion, I would say a gratitude journal helps to etch thankfulness into the minds of the author. Also, encourage curiosity and questions. Whatever questions they ask, please, as parents, be patient with them. Answer the questions as constructively as you can. Don't hush them up. Their minds are like are going in 1,000 places at the same time. So no matter how stupid the question seems, as much as possible, try to give them the kind of answer that you know that they will understand. Be intentional about the type of content your kids read reading books, watch on the screens. Teach them to read about other countries. Let them learn about other cultures and customs and languages. Teach them other languages. It helps them to understand and feel like these people. If your child understands French or can speak French, he will naturally relate to the French-speaking person. If your child speaks Spanish, it's the same thing. If he sees a Spanish-speaking person, he kind of relates with the person because they can communicate in the same language. So teach your children to read about countries, about other cultures, about other customs, about history, and also about languages, right? Point out similarities and differences to them. Let them know that this is how this ought to be. And also, finally, teach them core values: open-mindedness, empathy, curiosity. Let them learn to read from people, not about people. Let them not always want to know what this is about, but let them want to learn from the person. Let them always want to get something good from every situation they find themselves, not just reading about it in passing and say, oh, King Charles is now the sovereign of the United Kingdom. But they should be able to learn from the life of King Charles, learn about the impact that King Charles has made in the United Kingdom, right? So that's how we kind of teach them all they need to know about being socially aware. I hope this video has sent a message or two to one or more parents. I hope that you would stick in for more. There's more content where this is coming from. I want to thank you all very much for listening, learning, and coming on this journey with me. And we'll be back here again, same time next week. Once again, this is Chichi Dagogo Wariso, aka the Storybook Lady, as I like to call myself. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, and also tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. I am signing out.